Hello and welcome. I am Chakshu Roy and you're watching Laws in the Making on Rajya Sabha TV. Today on the show, we are discussing the National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management Bill 2019. Currently, there are two institutions located in Kundli in Haryana and Thanjavur in Tamil Nadu that aim to do further research in improving challenges faced by stakeholders in the food processing sector. The bill declares these institutions as institutions of national importance. To discuss the bill, I have on the show with me Dr. Anshu Singh, Senior Lecturer, Food Safety and Nutrition, IHM Pusa, and Dr. Shalini Sehgal, Associate Professor, BCAS College, Delhi University. These two institutions, the National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management in Kundli, Haryana, and the Indian Institute of Food Processing Technology in Thanjavur, Tamil Nadu, are separate autonomous institutions. They are registered as societies under the Societies Registration Act of 1860. The bill declares these two institutions as National Institutes of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management.
The National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management in Kundli, Haryana, and the Indian Institute of Food Processing Technology in Thanjavur, Tamil Nadu work on improving human resources to address the challenges faced in the food processing sector. Some of these challenges include inadequate food processing and storage facilities. Due to inadequate facilities, produce tend to go to waste and badly affects farmers.
The institutions which are coming up in the country, they will be preparing experts in the area of food processing and in the area of food safety. So I think these institutions are very key role they are going to play in our country. India produces a lot of agricultural produce, be it dairy, be it fresh food, vegetable, but for lack of adequate transportation facilities or of processing facilities, a lot of such food goes to waste. So I think if experts are developed in these areas, this is going to be a very good support, for the economy in the country. Everybody is talking about farmer distress and issues related with that. I think if the food that is produced by our farmers, if it is utilized properly and none of it goes to waste, that will be doing a great deal of good. That will increase the incomes for the farmers, and the farm distress, as it is known these days, I think it will come to an end.
The bill recognizes the institutes in Kundli and Thanjavur as institutions of national importance. It declares these institutions as National Institutes of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management. The purpose is to give them autonomy to increase research on food technology, entrepreneurship and management. This increase in research and starting new course can help increase knowledge on how to improve food technology.
Well, they are basically teaching, developing new courses, food science, food technology, developing entrepreneurship in this area, and innovation and dissemination of ideas and new technology. So this is their basic function, actually, from academic point of view. So one would assume that it's not entirely just teaching. You have to interact with food processing industry, and you must be able to address the problems of the stakeholders. And who are the stakeholders? The food processing industry, the farmers, the cold chain in food processing, all those people are the stakeholders.
The National Institutes of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management will provide for research in the field of food science and technology. They will be responsible for holding examinations and granting degrees to students in these institutes. They will be responsible for making academic posts within the institutes. The National Institutes of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management Bill 2019 was introduced in Rajya Sabha by the Minister of Food Processing Industries, Harsimrat Kaur Badal, on February 13, 2019. The bill has been referred to a standing committee for further recommendations.
The bill that we are discussing today has been referred to a parliamentary standing committee. It's a bill in the Rajya Sabha, so which means when the new Lok Sabha comes in, this is one of the first few bills that will be taken up. Dr. Shalini, I wanted to start the program with you. If you can just lay down as to what is food technology, what is the scope of the sector, and what is the need for having, a university for food technology?
So when we are talking about food technology as a core area, I would like to start with one thing, that it's the sunrise industry. The food industry is giving opportunities to lots of people. And when we talk about food technology as a subject, we are going to deal with everything for the processing of the raw material to the final product. So when we talk about food processing industry in India, it is one of the industry which is rising, or we can say which is rising at a very high percentage, like the development rate currently is 12%, which is much higher than the GDP which is there. So when we talk about an industry which is very fast growing, it will give opportunities to various people who are going to engage in various types of professional activities in this particular industry. So when we talk about food processing industry, and we talk about a report which has come by ASSOCHAM in the year 2017, it says that the food industry in India will be able to generate 9 million of jobs by 2024. So when we talk about 9 million jobs, so definitely we need manpower, and we need manpower which is trained. So there comes the role of this particular bill and these two institutes, which are going to bring forth people not only in the field of technology, entrepreneurship and management. This combination is unique to these institutes, especially NIFTEM. They are training people who are also in the field of entrepreneurship, which has been not given the due significance till date. We have been talking about degrees which were like food science, food technology, but this combination where we talk about management, entrepreneurship and technology. So I feel that this bill is bringing forth the institutes which are going to emphasize on all the three important facets which are required. When we talk about the food industry, we actually need people who can run the industry, who can manage the industry. Because when we talk about food, this is a main backbone for any country in terms of growth, because especially for India, it's an agriculture based economy. So when we talk about the food, we are world leader in various categories, food categories, and we are second to China when we talk about wheat. So we need the accurate processing, right processing, so that the major food is not wasted. And unfortunately, in our country, 2 to 3% of the food is being processed. So I feel that this bill is going to fill the gap which is needed, and it is going to bring forth the institutes which will train the manpower in this area.
Okay. Dr. Anshu, Dr. Shalini talked about the need for the food processing industry. If you can lay down for us, I know that you're from IHM Pusa, and there used to be a time when the major institutions that you heard of were only the hotel management institutions, and that was the closest that I can remember I could think of, when it came to food technology or food processing. What is the ecosystem of educational institutions that now exist? So there's, NIFTEM, obviously, but what are other courses that are being offered? What is the landscape as far as the education in this space is concerned?
Yes, we are going in a right direction of enhancing the education. New courses are coming up. Food technology is one of the major courses which now people look forward to. Because as ma'am shared the statistics, we are looking forward, we have to go in that direction because we require the manpower. Food technology is one. Hotel management being a skill development course, we have to talk about it, because tomorrow these two aspects, the hotel management and food technology, have to come together in order to give the guest the best in case of food, because people look forward for safe food. Because today people have the money to spend and go to the restaurants, and when they are going, they look forward for safe food, and which food technology can help the chefs to go forward and serve the best food. And
probably also to formalize the sector. Whenever there is educational institutions which run extensive courses, for example, NIFTEM, I believe, is running a BTech and an MTech course in food technology. So whenever courses are run, it formalizes the sector, it creates a talented pool of people who come with a standardized degree. Right. So that's roughly the idea behind this.
Yes, we need the manpower, having a best of the trained people.
Okay, great. Dr. Shalini, one of the things, I remember speaking to you before we started this program was there's a lot of apprehension and, probably in parents' minds or children's mind when they're going in for a food technology course. In school, we used to have something called home sciences. So what exactly is food technology? What does, get taught when we talk about food technology? You teach some part of that curriculum at the University of Delhi in a college. Can you talk a little bit about that?
You have raised a very important, interesting question. From whenever we interact with the parents who are coming for admissions or the youth who is about to take admission into the colleges, we see they have a concern that food technology is more or less something related to home science. So we have spent enough time deliberating, discussing with them that food technology is a technical line. Yes, we are talking about processing of food, but when we talk about food processing, we are talking about the techniques. And these techniques are very, very special and very, very scientific, because when you talk about food technology, we talk about the food which comes with a shelf life. Because this is the main reason we are trying to use technology, because we are trying to preserve food. So I see a very significant change in last 10 years. People are more aware about food technology, and they are not confusing now with other fields. And when we talk about food technology, food processing and other aspects, food technology is a very applied field, So we can talk about the cereals, we can talk about fruits and vegetables, we can talk about oil seeds. So it's a very cohesive kind of a subject, multidisciplinary. And when we talk about technology, processing, packaging, the distribution and safety, like Dr. Singh said, it's very, very important that we are able to give food which is wholesome as well as safe. So in the coming times, food processing will work hand in hand with food safety so that we get wholesome and safe food.
Perfect. It's time for us to head into a break. When we come back, we will discuss provisions and the details regarding the different institutional authorities that are being established under the bill. Welcome back. The NIFTEM Bill seeks to declare certain institutes of food, technology, entrepreneurship, and management as institutions of national importance. This is to enable them to increase research on food sciences and technology.
The bill provides provisions for establishing certain authorities which will be responsible for the general administration and play an executive role for these two institutions. These includes a board of governors, a senate, and a council. The Board of Governors will be principal executive body of the institute, which will have 16 members including field experts. The role of the Board of Governors is to establish academic departments, initiate different courses, determine academic posts, and decide the budget of the institute.
FSSAI being the apex body for food safety in the country, will help the institute both in terms of raising standards of curriculum and bringing them up to date with what is happening at the national level in the regulatory space and also internationally, and also define the research agenda for the institute, so that the research that is done by the institutes is relevant for the work of the FSSAI and for the nation as a whole.
In each of these institutions, the Senate will be principal academic body. It will include members who are academics from the field of food science, technology, and management. It will be responsible for maintaining academic standards within institutes, which include how classes are taught and the examinations that are held.
Well, basically, there are several sources of funding. The central government is also going to provide some fund. Then they are going to charge fee because they are going to run the teaching programs. They are authorized to accept gifts from maybe India or abroad or anywhere. And so basic idea is that they get a lot of autonomy and they don't have to go through the day-to-day bureaucracy. You know, you don't need permission every time. Suppose you want to have a collaboration with a foreign university, then you don't have to seek permission each time. It's provided in their constitution. But one thing is very interesting, that the bill specifies that these institutions must become self-sufficient and self-sustaining. So basically the hint is, or the guideline is very clear, that do not plan to depend entirely on the government. You have to generate your own resources, and your effort should be such that you are able to sustain in future.
The Council will have the Minister of Food Processing Industries as chairperson and representatives from ministries related to food processing, higher education and finance. The Council will lay down policy framework for each of these institutes to achieve objectives of improving research in the fields of food science and technology.
The two institutes the bill talks about are currently functioning in Kundli, in Haryana and Thanjavur in Tamil Nadu. Dr. Anshu, I wanted to understand from you, what does it mean when an existing institution, gets the title of an institution of national importance? What changes happen, or what is the functional autonomy that an institution gets when that happens?
As Professor Vashish has rightly said, that yes, it gives the functional autonomy to the institution, because ultimately once they have to sustain their institute, they have to look for consultancies. It's not only the fees that will help them to go forward. So they have to tie up with the industries, they have to go for foreign collaborations in order to sustain. Because yes, finance is one of the important things so that their institutes go well. So the planning should be that from the beginning, once they get this aspect, that how to go about and sustain for future.
And I was reading the statement of objects and reasons of the bill, and one of the things that it said was that once you get the title of National Institute of Institute of National Importance, then one of the things that you can do is you can design your own course structure. So how are courses designed, or what is roughly for a BTech course, what are the different kinds of subjects that are taught in an institution?
We have to first of all have a meeting with all the stakeholders of the industry, bring them together, take inputs from them, take input from FSSAI, because as it's the only law, as Sir Pawan has said, that we have to collaborate with FSSAI industry and plan out. Subjects like in biotechnology, we have to take care of all the food groups, milk, the oil seeds, the fruits and vegetable, how we need to process and later on market with the right packaging and the food label.
And possibly the idea is that when you get an autonomy in deciding your course curriculum, the course curriculum can be kept updated with the times, with change in industry, with the requirements of what the industry wants or the stakeholders want.
Yes.
Dr. Shalini, what roughly, you earlier touched upon a study by ASSOCHAM. So what roughly is the scope for employment generation, in the food technology industry?
So when we talk about food technology industry, the opportunities and the venues are many for the students who are coming from these institutes or who are having background in food processing industry. As we see that food sector has multiple subsectors, and so when we talk about the opportunity, we can work in the production sector, the production unit, the packaging unit, the R&D labs, which are very, very critical because lots of research is happening in these labs. We are also talking about the food additives. So food additives can be one area, flavor technology or a flavor technologist can be one area which can be looked into. Then we can have various types of analysis, like we can have people who are trained in chemical analysis, people who are microbiologists, who are dealing with the microbiological analysis of food. So when we talk about food processing, the job opportunities are many, and since last decade we are talking more about food safety. So food safety has emerged as one area which is offering jobs as auditors, as people who can be regulators, who are implementing the new rules which are coming. So when we talk about the entire gamut, we see that we can have people who can be highly technical and people who are just running the show to the manager level. So it's a very nice mix of scientific, technical and managerial jobs which are there in this food sector and which actually give venue to so many students who are coming out.
Okay, perfect. I was actually looking at a study by the Institute of Applied Manpower Research, and they said by 2017 only, the demand or the skill gap in this sector would be 35 million jobs. Dr. Anshu, Dr. Shalini talked about food safety, and that's a subject that you teach at IHM Pune. Can you tell us a little bit about aspects of food safety that are taught at food technology institutions?
Food safety covers like the basic microbiology. They should know about the microbes that can come and infect the food, and we have to take care of how in future we need to protect our food from those microbes. It talks about the laws, the regulations that are existing. Initially we had many laws, now only one law that is existing, Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. We are promoting that act in our classes so that students are aware, because we have catering students. Tomorrow these students are going to the industry, so they should be aware of this law. And then the new trends that are coming up regarding food safety worldwide, so that globally tomorrow they can, if they are going outside, the codex aspect they should be aware, because it is functional throughout the world.
Can you just tell a little bit about what do you mean by codex?
Codex is an international law that is taken care when our food is being exported or imported. Through codex we have to get the clearance.
Okay, perfectly. So what your curriculum does is that it ensures that not only do the students understand the science or the education part of it, but they're also prepared to understand the regulatory mechanisms, because when they get into the real world outside of the college, the laws of the land will then, they'll have to comply with that to ensure safety.
Right.
Okay. Dr. Shalini, one of the things that we've always talked about is, the gap that exists between teaching institutions and then employment in the industry. And one of the things that these two institutions in Kundli and Thanjavur do is that they are a mixture of not only teaching but also entrepreneurship, right? How does that work? Are there specific courses in there, or there are industry experts that come and teach at the college?
Okay, so when we talk about the food technology and entrepreneurship, the linkages are getting stronger day by day. The courses which we are running, since I come from University of Delhi and we offer a degree in food technology, so we also have a paper on entrepreneurship which was very recently introduced. Why? Because now we feel that there is a need of people who not only work in the industry, but if they want to go out and they want to earn their living by starting their own industry, they should be given the support and they should get the right information, how to go about it, how to establish their own industry. And when I use the word industry, I'm not talking about big industries, I'm just talking about small, medium scale enterprises which can be started. So it's very important to guide them in the right direction.
Perfect. I just have a little bit more time to get final comments from both of you. Dr. Anshu, if you can tell me, what will be the impact of a legislation like this on students?
It would be obviously a positive one, because tomorrow once they are going to the industry, they would be in demand. And this is what we are looking. If they get this kind of a center of excellence, national of importance, this NIFTEM, then definitely tomorrow the students would be happy to get the jobs. They would be good entrepreneurs for India, and globally we would be in a good position.
Perfect. Dr. Shalini, impact on stakeholders, including farmers.
Very positive impact, because at the end of the day, these manpower are going to interact at the ground level with various types of industries, with NGOs, with the smaller farmer units. So when we talk about this particular bill, it will send the right trained people, and we'll be able to tackle the grassroots problems which our country is facing. And rather than wasting so much of food, I think we'll be moving towards a country which is wasting less of food.
Perfect. Thank you, and that's all the time that we have for the program. I want to thank Dr. Anshu and Dr. Shalini for joining us on this discussion. It is time for us to end the show. You can watch our shows on the RSTV page of YouTube. We will be back with a new issue and a new episode. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.